Hey there, friends. Nibs again. Out here in the garage today, doing a little bit of goofing around, and I got something really, really special for you guys today. This is more of a history lesson on this gun, and we'll be taking it out. It's very, very windy today, so I don't want to get out and throw off all these pellets flying around. But today we're going to do a little bit of history lesson on this gun, on this company, and what we have is a really, really neat piece of air gun history here. This one was actually sent over to me by a channel member, Randy. I really appreciate the friendship that he and I have sparked up here in the last few months. And he actually found this one on eBay. He asked the seller to send it to me, but apparently that seller thought it was a little sketchy and did not want to send it anywhere but to him. So Randy, packed it up and sent it on over to me, and we're going to take a look at it. But what we have here is a Kessler Arms Company 22 caliber multi-pump pellet gun, and if it bears a striking resemblance to a Crosman gun, there's a reason, and we'll get into that in a minute or two. But that is not the first design that actually Kessler had put out as far as an air gun goes. But we got to go back and talk about the history of Crosman and a few other companies before we get into Kessler. So before World War II, Crosman was in Rochester, and there was a company called Monroe Gasket in Rochester as well. And Crosman was buying seals and rubber and stuff from them for their air guns right up until World War II. Once World War II was over, legend has it, from what I've read in a couple different stories that I've read about this whole situation here, that Monroe Gasket decided they wanted to make their own product line of air guns, and so they started. And I found a picture of a one that's actually stamped as a Rochester Air Guns. I've actually chased a few of these on eBay, and there's a couple there now. Maybe I'll pick one of them up. It does need some repairs. Um, Unfortunately, Henry Ford does not supply a seal kit for these. He can repair these Kesslers and the Rochesters, but he said there's some differences inside of each one, so he needs to see each one individually because some of the O-rings aren't interchangeable from one version to the other. So anyway, so Monroe Gasket started a subdivision of their company called Rochester Arms Company and started making this gun. And here's a picture of it here. I'll put it across the bottom here because I know it's going to be long. But and if it bears a striking resemblance to a Crossman, there is a reason for that. So here is a Crossman. I have several of this type, but this is my Crossman Model 101. And if that bears a very striking resemblance, not perfectly exactly the same, but legend has it that when Monroe decided to make their own, they actually hired a former engineer from or employee from Crossman to help them kind of duplicate the Model 101. And another small article I found about them actually said that Rochester Air Guns and Monroe Gasket got themselves in a little bit of hot water, uh, especially with the air gun community, because they so closely um, replicated the Model 101. That's kind of, I didn't find a lot of information about that, but I did see one thing where that happened. In 1948, Monroe Gasket actually sold, there was already a Kessler manufacturing company in Buffalo, and they sold their interest of that to the Kessler manufacturing company in Buffalo. And they continued making the one that looks a lot like the Model 101 for a short time, but then they redesigned their whole design to come up with the one that looks like what we have here. So they came out with this one, but I'll show you another Crosman. And I think, so this came out, for what I could find, in 1948. And so this is the oldest of this crew of air guns that I have up here, but this is a Model 110 Town and Country Junior. Not a perfect match with that one, but bears a striking resemblance again. Uh, but actually, the best I can tell, uh, those Town and Countries and other guns like that, they didn't start those until like 49 and 50. So this Kessler actually predates that newer product line of Crossmans by at least a year or maybe two. So this Kessler here, there was actually, and I found a picture, another picture, and I'll put it up here, on a airgun forum from, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago, where there was several different variants, mostly in the stock finish. And this is the most simplest of the versions. Uh, Several of them had really nice walnut stocks with really nice wrists carved into them and everything. But this one's just really just a very plain slab side. It's not throwing any stones at it. It's a very cool gun. Um, but so best I can tell, Kessler made this gun from 1948 until about 1952. I did find one other piece of literature that I'm going to show you here. Here's a sales ad from 1952 that lists this uh, along with the Sheridan Blue Streak. This was only $1 less than the Sheridan Blue Streak, and Sheridan probably had pretty good name recognition, so that probably was a good reason why they never really took off to any great extent. You find a lot more blue streaks and silver streaks than you do Kessler 22s, but really is a pretty cool gun. This one did have a couple of, even though Randy bought it as a working gun from eBay, there was a couple of issues. Very simple to work out. Um, the first one being, so the bolt, when I got it, would actually, you would just do like that and it would just slam down, and it wasn't sealing. And a couple people in my unboxing video that I did with this one uh, commented about that. And there's actually a little, so there's a little ball there on the end of the, before the, or after the probe, on the bolt, and that actually goes into a chamfer on the back side of the barrel, and that's what's supposed to seal the barrel up. Well, that was not mating hard against that, and the barrel was positioned wrong inside the, just ever so slightly, like a couple thousandths of an inch. But now it has nice tension, and it puts tension on there, so I'm not getting any oil blowing back in my face when I shoot it. The other problem was, when I was pumping it, and you have to cock this before you can pump it, and you'll hear a little air come out. But when I cocked it and I would pump it, after I got up to about 3 or 4 pumps, I could hear air hissing back out. Um, and so I had some blow by coming by. It was still pumping up with pretty good pressure, but I think I got it a lot better now. And there's almost no blow by coming back out of there. It was filling up the valve, getting some pretty decent pressure, but um, it really seems like it's doing a lot more now. What I ended up doing, and I've got this stuff, and I've used on a couple of guns, and it really works pretty well. It's this stuff called Freol, and it's kind of a penetrating oil, but it's not really harsh like PB Blaster or whatever. And I've used that on a couple of guns. It really acts as a nice cleaner because it's real thin. And I spray it down in there with quite a bit and just keep pumping it and shooting it, pumping it and shooting it, and trying to work that stuff through. And once I get it worked through really well, then I'll go back in and I like to use this silicon oil. It's almost like a gel. It's pretty heavyweight oil, and that gives it a real nice thick oil coating on the pump cup and other parts inside. And I've saved a couple of old timers like this from having to need to be rebuilt by taking that same process. So I think we're really going to do pretty well with that. But I got to start my downrange camera up. We'll take a couple shots with it. I do have a target there, and then I'm going to try to hit my silhouettes. But this is mostly for a kind of a history lesson here. So the shooting part of it's just going to be kind of abbreviated. But stand by. Alrighty. So yeah, once we get a better weather day, I'll take this out to the range, 15, 20, 25 yards, see what we can do with it. Set some cans up, see if we can knock them over. This is a 22 caliber, and I'm just shooting the Crosman Premier hollow points. But again, you gotta load a pellet, cock it, and then pump it. But that's just a lot that way with a lot of these older guns. So I heard a little there, but it's so when you pump it, every time you pump it, the pump cup is pushing air into a valve, and then there's a check valve that's supposed to stop it off, but there's still a little bit of pressure on the outside of that check valve, and that's what is blowing by this pump cup. So this one could probably use a new pump cup, and I have read that maybe a Crosman 101 pump cup will work, which I have a few spares, so I may just take it apart and see what the size looks like. But let's go ahead and see if we can hit that splatter burst. Oh, yeah. See, plenty of power. When I shot it on my unboxing, I had oil blowing back in my face, and I was actually shooting it at one of these indestructible little targets here, and it barely made a mark on them. But it's shooting with a lot more power now that I've got that sealed up, and the pump cup actually working a lot better. I can actually feel it actually doing some work when I close it down there. Not bad. That Freol has a really nicer smell to it. It's not real solventy smelling, like a PB Blaster or anything like that. Some people have that one. I heard a little hiss. All right, that looks pretty good. Let's see if we can hit some silhouettes here. Definitely, I think maybe I'll look into. I've read online that the pump cups are similar enough, and I think that's all that's going on with it is just because I have I have actually pumped this up and then let it sit for 20 or 30 minutes, and it's still shot with just as much pressure as it would have if I shot it right away. So it's not leaking out of the valve. So it's got to be just a little bit of blow by coming back from the pump cup, from the residual that didn't get into the valve. But what a cool piece of air gun history. Pig, no problem. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of boy, sorry about that, folks. A little bit of seasonal allergies, no big deal. I think you pump this up to 8 times, but just 5 pumps has more than enough power. Right, let's see if I can hit the chicken. Oh yeah. I think this will be fun. 15, 20 yards with some cans, maybe even some cans with water in them. All right, not a miss. I like it. I didn't even think to set up a paintball. We'll get that next time. But anyway, there you go. Real quick. Well, not real quick, but quick enough. Quick little history on the Kessler Arms Company. Just one more little bit about the Kessler Company. After they started making these guns and got a little bit of success going, they actually developed a couple of different shotguns. They had a pump action shotgun and a bolt action shotgun that they manufactured from like 51 to 53. So I'm wondering if they still made these past 52. I couldn't find any information about the guns past 52, the air guns past 52. But if they were making the shotguns into 53, I would guess they might still have been making the air guns as well. Um, I'm not sure what the. So this one is from Buffalo, which is where the company originated, and then apparently they moved back to Rochester and then Silver Creek. So this one is stamped as Buffalo. So I believe this one might be an early one from still in the Buffalo era. I may have those timelines all messed up, but a bit of research that I was able to find on these, I believe I have it in the correct order. But stay tuned for more fun shooting with this. We'll put this head to head with a couple of these Crossmans over here. I have the 102, the 101, the 100, the Model 110. That's a 147, which is the 177 version of the 140, and then I have a Model 120 there as well. So we got a lot of possibilities for old timer head to head action here. So, but and I have my Sheridan Blue Streak over there, and a few other stragglers from back in the day too. Might put it up against a 22 caliber break barrel as well. So hope you guys liked the video. Till next time, have a great day.